So I want to talk for a few minutes about this energy that's coming up that I'm seeing everywhere right now, where people are feeling all of these kind of shadowy, old school emotions and patterns and memories coming forward at the same time that they're feeling really, really preoccupied in their mind, but almost in a way that generates momentum and makes them feel like, oh, I'm energized and I want to do this and I want to do that. And they're kind of pumped and they're kind of moving and grooving, but there's some shadow there too. And this is the energy of this new moon that we're still in for the next couple of days. This is a new moon in Scorpio. And it's this typically new moons don't affect me as much as full moons, but this one has been really, really strong and poignant and precise in its energy. And it's really about holding this duality, right? Holding these two energies of I'm feeling really, really preoccupied and in the mind and have all this momentum at the same time that I'm feeling all of this shadowy, like confusing old school stuff, right? And so it's beautiful that this is coming forward because this new moon, and I'm not pretending to be an astrologer here. Let's be clear. I'm not an astrologer. I'm an Akashic Records practitioner and a Reiki master teacher. But I will tell you that some of these energies become very, very clear to me, depending on what's going on in the cosmos. And this one is really inviting us into completely new patterns, like starting a new way of being, a new way of operating, a new way of engaging, and possibly new pathways in your life. Okay. And so what this is inviting us into is the reality and the ownership of I can hold both of these energies at the same time. I can hold all of this energy at the same time. And not only can I hold it, but I can get curious about it and not get reactive with it and just be with all of these energies at the same time. And so I'm going to explain a little bit of my own work with this because I've done some journaling on this. I did a long module in my vitality program on this that was really, really powerful where we did some channeling. But I just want to share some basics with you because it's literally popping up everywhere from my clients to my personal life. Like everybody is feeling the exact same thing and they're messaging me and they're saying, Laura, I feel this, I feel that. And I think it's about this and I think it's about that. And I'm like, hold on. Let's not make this about what's going on in the 3D and you being in the human sauce right now, like all of us can. And instead look at this energetically, take a big picture, look at this, like what's going on, because everybody's experienced this exact same duality right now, man. Like almost everybody that I know is experiencing this. And so what I want to share with you is a couple things. One is this concept of being preoccupied. So when you're preoccupied in the mind, which is such a classic plight of being human, it means what? It means that you are being engrossed by the mind, right? You are engrossing the mind and then engrossed by the mind. You're engrossing the mind with something that you're fixating on or being preoccupied with. And when that happens and we're preoccupied, we can then shift ourselves, but then the mind's going to start being preoccupied with something else. Even if it's something positive, it doesn't matter. You're still kind of fixating or going over and over in your mind about something or someone in particular. And when we do this, we are not present, right? We are not present and we are not in a space of simplicity. It's complex because our minds are running around and we're starting to get confused. So whenever something is present in our field, we can say to ourselves, all right, this seems to be taking up residence here for a little bit. It's got to be serving me in some way to be showing up in my field. What is the benefit that I'm receiving from this preoccupation? What is the benefit of you not being present in your life? When you are not present, you are not feeling the richness and the intimacy that comes with presence. When you are present with someone and you are really looking into their eyes and you are receiving all of them and you are offering your full attention and putting your heart into it, when you are fully present in a creative project, you are operating with a level of precision that requires full presence and that allows whatever you're creating to take on a life of its own, to become something really expressive and magical. There's a richness and an intimacy in presence. So when you're preoccupied, what's happening is your subconscious mind is actually distracting you from presence. It's distracting you from intimacy and richness of life. It is actually an avoidance tactic from intimacy. You're avoiding intimacy. You're avoiding richness. Why? Why are you avoiding intimacy? Because if I show up in my fullness of being and I am fully present and I am totally here with you, all of me is here with all of you, you get to experience all of me. And when you get to experience all of me, that scares the living shit out of my subconscious mind. That scares my subconscious mind because it's like, oh no, if you see all of me, then you're going to see my shame. Then you're going to see my flaws. Then you're going to see all of me. And if I have not accepted all of me and I am not madly in love with all of me, it's going to scare the crap out of me for you to see all of me. So therefore, we get into this preoccupied, distracted wheel, right? In the mind. So once we realize that my preoccupation is an avoidance of intimacy, what do? It's an avoidance of me feeling like I'm too much. Like all of me is too much to be seen. All of me is not acceptable, right? I am not okay with my own intensity then. If I'm worried about being too much, or I'm worried about having all of me being seen because I'm not really fully accepting that, I am afraid of my own intensity. So what happens when I'm afraid of my own intensity? I turn toward it. I'm not going to shy away from that. I'm going to say, wow, I'm curious about that. I'm afraid of my own intensity. Wow. I did not realize that. Great. Now I get to turn toward that intensity and meet it and be with it and say, you're welcome here. Thank you for being here. I'm going to be with my intensity. I'm going to hold all of my intensity. And listen to this part. This is the part where it gets a little deeper. There is no more intense energy than the energy of the universe, than the energy of source. You think about the center of our galaxy, the central sun. It's a giant black hole. Anything that enters this or even gets into its surrounding energy field gets sucked in and pulverized into energetic particles. It is the most intense energy. And that's just in our galaxy, not to mention all the other energy in the universe and source itself that created it all. That is intensity, dudes. We experience a fraction of that in terms of the polarity on this planet, and we feel it more palpably because we're in human bodies. But just like my bookmark says, quote by Rumi, everything in the universe is within you, right? Everything in the universe is within you. So that level of intensity that exists within the universe exists within me. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to take my intensity and I'm going to go hang out with the universe. Hey, I'm going to sit with my intensity and I'm going to bring that intensity to the universe and say, let's bring our intensity together. Let me match my intensity with your intensity. What happens when you bring intense to intense? Sometimes explosion a lot of the time. Almost all the time, you're going to get explosion. Sometimes that explosion is going to be ecstasy. Sometimes that explosion is going to feel like destruction. But guess what always comes out of it? Something new. If there's explosions in the universe, which happen all the time, new stars, comets, new matter, new objects, cosmic objects that we're finding all the time, right? So I'm here for it. I'm here for my intensity. I'm here for my intensity meeting universal intensity because everything in the universe is within me. So I know that this intensity that's showing up within me is here for a reason and is a reflection of universal energy. So I'm just going to bring it to its source and I'm going to meet it. I do that through challenging. I'm sorry, channeling. I do that through channeling. I'm not going to challenge the universe. I do that through channeling, where I meet that intensity and I invite it in. Bring it in. Meet your intensity with my intensity, and let's channel. Let's bring this into an explosion of information, of catalyzing something new, of creating a new pathway. And what's so freaking cool about all of this is that when we do this and we decide to match our intensity with universal intensity, we are aligning closer and closer to our soul's frequency. And our soul's frequency is pure. It is pure. And no matter how hard we try, we can't be pure on this planet. Because purity is about not mixing substances. And guess what? Everything's mixed. Everything's mixed here. Everything's mixed in the universe. Energy fields are constantly intertwining. It's impossible to be down here and be fully pure because our energy fields are always mixing with other energy fields, right? But there is one thing that's pure within you, and that is your soul. That is your essence. And when we bring universal intensity into our intensity, we are getting closer to our soul's essence. We are getting closer to our soul's frequency. We are getting closer to purity. So that's what this wild ride is about right now, right? We're feeling all this preoccupation. We're feeling all of these other intense emotions coming up and these old stories and all of this, right? Good. Be with the intensity of holding it all because you can. Because when you do, you create new. You create new pathways at the same time that you are becoming attuned and connected to the simplicity of your essence. So by meeting your intensity, you are creating a new pathway that is in alignment with the simplicity of your soul's essence. There is nothing more sustainable than that. There is nothing more exciting than that. There is nothing more expansive than that. So I want you to get out of your head, but I want you to recognize that what's coming up in your head is a cue that you are being invited into meeting the universe, inviting it in, and allowing the connection between these energies to catalyze something novel that allows you to return to the simplicity of your essence, to simplify your life, to calm yourself down, to see things through the eyes of the divine, and to have perspective on this even further the next time this energy comes around, if it comes around. It's probably going to be in a different form because energy is always moving. But talk about deepening self-trust too, right? And your ability to hold this duality and your ability to hold these energies at the same time. And to not only hold them, but to make magic from them, to be with them, to know that they hold your highest timeline. So thank you for receiving this. Thank you for listening to this. I've been really, really enjoying spending time with this energy and just allowing it, just being with it, letting the waves run, being with the waves, giving myself a lot of space with the waves, a lot of nourishment for myself, a lot of patience, a lot of compassion, a lot of soul level connection with those closest to me. And if you need soul level connection and you don't have a soul tribe, reach out. I have communities, I have opportunities, and there's probably some right in your community as well, in the form of Buddhist temples or monasteries or energy sharing circles or spiritual groups or yoga studios. Your resources are there, I promise. And here's your invitation to access them if you feel so called. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.